Hello. Are you looking for some fabulous snow-themed books to celebrate the winter weather that you may be lucky enough to have outside? Hello, I'm Nicole Trevillis-Fravel, and this is Wildwood Teaching. And last week, I introduced some ways that you might want to use snow as a loose part in preschool. This week, I'm going to be giving you some of my favorite snowy books that you might want to pair with those activities. So let's see. First one is Snow Sisters by Carrie Kokias and Tegan White. And this book basically compares and contrasts two sisters with very different personalities, one more active and one a little bit more of the quiet, cerebral type. But each one of them takes some time outside to explore the snow and also take some time indoors being cozy. And this is a great introduction to, if you don't have any ideas of what you and the children can do outside in the snow, excuse me, these sisters will give you some ideas for what to do outside in the snow, as well as some inspiration for how to stay cozy inside. Another book that is kind of a compare and contrast is A Day So Gray by Marie Lambda. And this book, instead of comparing what the children are doing, it's really their attitudes toward the winter weather. So where one child sees, it's gray, the other child is able to find pops of color and inspiration and joy in the winter weather. And so this is a really great book to jumpstart your scavenger hunt of where can you find pops of color outside in the winter. Is it all gray? Is it all white? In our case, because of the rain, is it all brown? Or can you find some berries popping up? Can you find some leaves that still might have some color on them? Or another thing that we like to do is we like to talk about shades of color. So instead of, is it brown? Can you find beige? Can you find tan? Can you find something that's coffee colored, chocolate colored? And you can do this with little paint swatches or whatever gives your children a visual for different gradations of color. The Tea Party in the Woods by Akiko Miyakoshi is kind of a little riff on the classic Red Riding Hood tale. So child's father goes off to bring some supplies to grandma, but forgets the cake and, or actually I think it's the pie. He forgets the pie. And so the little girl races after him to try to get the pie to him so he can bring it to grandma. But she never quite catches up to him until the very end when she realizes that she wasn't actually following her father, and she was following a bear. She ends up having a tea party in the woods with all of these animals that have gathered at a house. They fix her broken pie. As you saw in that picture, she fell and smashed the pie by giving her pieces of the desserts they're serving at tea, which she then brings to her grandmother. This is a great one for pie baking, whether it's real or pretend. Are you using real ingredients, or are you gathering items in your mud kitchen or from the forest to make a pie? Are you making your pie for humans, or maybe you are making a pie as a gift to the animals, and it's a pie made of seeds and berries that you're going to leave out for the squirrels, the deer, or whatever animals are in your area of the world as an offering. Right. Snowballs is by Lois Ehlert, and it has the classic Lois Ehlert collages, um, where it shows all of the different ways that you could decorate a snow creature with items that you might find in the forest or items that you might have on hand at your house. The narrator of this book also makes some additional snow creatures, and my preschoolers always love making snow dogs and other snow animals when we have the chance and enough snow. So if you have seen some of my previous book roundups, you know that I always like to include nonfiction titles in our read aloud lists. And this is no different this time. This one is called Best in Snow by April Polisayer. And basically, it's a photographic essay about the water cycle in winter and how the mist and the clouds can form snow, right? And how it gathers on the ground before again evaporating into the air. And my preschoolers love doing winter water scavenger hunts. So where can we find water? Right? Can we find it hidden in the ice? Is there some frost? We always find some ice crystals under the soil or on that very first layer of soil. And it's a great way of understanding states of matter as well. All right. The rest of the books you may have seen in previous book roundups of mine. That is because they are that good. They are worth mentioning again. So first is another nonfiction title, and this is Over and Under the Snow by Kate Messner. And she actually has a whole series of books, Over and Under the Pond. There's one, I'm not sure if it's called Over and Under the Garden or Over and Under the Soil. But the conceit of the book is that they show a child above ground in a winterscape skiing around, and at the same time that the child and the father are exploring above ground, things are happening underground that they can't necessarily see. So it's a good information for children about where animals go in the winter and how the snow affects what they are doing. Again, if you have watched some of my previous book roundups, you know that I always like to include, along with nonfiction titles, wordless picture books. Wordless picture books I love to include because it gives children practice in storytelling. Right? There are no words on the book, so can we come up with our story? Our own story. And children feel confident with reading that way. And the snowman is particularly good for children to read on their own because it's not just one picture on every page. In fact, in my library, I don't know how yours will classify it. In my library, it is actually classified in the graphic novel section, not the picture book section, because of the panels. And it really allows the children to go through the panels step by step to tell a complete story. And it has kind of an ambiguous ending, right? Where what happens is the child here builds a snowman, and at night the snowman comes to life and they have an adventure together. And at the end, the child goes to sleep, wakes up the next morning, rushes outside, and the snowman has melted. And so I like to challenge the children to write the next chapter of the book. And by write, I mean dictate it, or maybe we're not writing it down at all. We're just making predictions and telling each other, what do you think is going to happen next? And some of the children think that the child will wait and the snowman will come back next year. Some of the children think that now the child is sad. So we just have a discussion about it. Right. Another one that just has to be included in any roundup of snow-themed books is the ultimate classic, The Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats, right? Where Peter wakes up in the morning to a blanket of snow, and we follow Peter as he makes tracks in the snow, tries to join a snowball fight, tries to save his snowball. And we love to try making our own tracks in the snow with our feet and with different objects, just like Peter does. And there you have it. That is our book roundup for snow-themed picture books. I hope you will include some or all of them and enjoy that winter weather. Let yourself celebrate it the same way that children celebrate it. And then if you are looking for more ideas of how to harness the power of snow to teach STEAM, so science and math that are art-based, we have a workshop coming up on Wednesday, January 22nd. And I encourage you to join us. I will be going over some of my most successful ideas in the past for how to use that winter weather, snow, rain, wind, ice, depending on what winter weather you have in your area of the world, and get outside or bring that weather inside for some science and math learning through art. So I hope you will check out the link above my head, the link below this video to join us for the workshop. And then make sure that you join us here next week for another free edition of Wildwood Teaching, when we will be talking about the dreaded unitaskers. What is a unitasker, you ask? You'll have to join me next week to find out. I will see you there.